The ringing of her phone sliced through the quiet vibration of the New York night. Julia fumbled in her purse, the leather cool against her fingertips, and fished it out. Philip. She swiped to answer, a smile tugging at the corners of her lips despite the exhaustion sticking to her bones. "Hey you," she said, her voice a little breathy from the night air. "Hey." Philip's voice, warm and laced with a familiar concern, filled her ear. "Just finished from the gig. Figured I'd call. Are you staying over?" Julia stopped walking, the yellow glow of a street lamp painting stripes across the sidewalk. She leaned against a brick wall, the rough texture grounding her. "No," she said, the word emerging heavier than intended. I'm heading home. Long day. Just wanna rest and sleep. Sorry." A pause stretched between them with quiet anxieties. Julia imagined him on the other end in his apartment, the fragrance of rosemary and something vaguely chemical clinging to the air. She could almost see the lines of worry etched around his eyes. "I just said goodbye to Anne," she added, needing to fill the silence. "We went to the Dead Rabbit. Good to catch up." Her fingers tightened around the phone. The Dead Rabbit was blocks behind her, its dimly lit interior now a distant memory. She almost left Soho and thought that she would catch a cab in the East Village as she headed towards Orlando's. "Okay. You are right, it was a long day. And how are you feeling?" Philip asked, the question laced with an understanding that both comforted and unnerved her. "Are the withdrawal symptoms easing up? I made another dose of tea. I will give you tomorrow." Easing up. Well, they were a stubborn hum beneath her skin, a dull ache in her bones, a restless energy that made her want to crawl out of her own skin. But she couldn't tell him that. Not now. "Yeah," she lied, forcing lightness into her voice. "Definitely better. Talking with and the margaritas helped a bit." "Margaritas. You should take it easy with that too. Alcohol is not the best therapy tool, you know. So I did a new batch. So until then, if you feel the craving, use the rest you have at home and sleep." "I will, honey. I promise," Julia said in a low voice. "Listen," Philip continued, his tone shifting slightly, a hint of excitement creeping in. "You know, I told you in the morning that on tomorrow Maggie, my sister, comes to Manhattan. I'd really like you two to meet." A wave of conflicting emotions washed over Julia as she stopped for a moment. She definitely wanted to meet Maggie. She wanted to be a part of Philip's life, to be integrated into his family, to prove that she was worthy of his love. But the thought of explaining her past, of being judged, filled her with dread. "Wednesday sounds great," she managed to say, but the word felt weird in her mouth. She started walking again, the pavement stretching out before her, each step carrying her closer to the path she was trying so desperately to escape. "I miss you," Philip said, his voice soft and filled with muscular emotions. The words were a punch to her gut. Guilt, sharp and stinging, spread through her. She missed him too. Missed the way he looked at her, the way he made her feel safe, the way he believed in her. She was betraying that belief right now, with every step she took and almost every word she said. "I miss you too," she whispered, rich with emotion. "So much." "Okay," Philip said, a hint of relief in his voice. "Get some rest. I'll see you tomorrow. And drop a text if you get home." "Okay." "Good night, Philip," she said. "Good night, Julia. I love you." The line went dead. Julia stared at the phone in her hand, the screen reflecting the harsh glare of a passing car's headlights. "Love you." The words resounded in her mind, a painful reminder of everything she stood to lose. She shoved the phone back into her purse, her hand brushing against the small, familiar package already nestled inside. Her heart pounded in her chest, a frantic drumbeat against her ribs. Just one last time, she told herself, the lie tasting like ash in her mouth. Just to get through the night. The tea at home wouldn't be enough. After a day like this. Just until I'm strong enough. She looked at her watch. It was 1:17. It was almost time, and she didn't want to keep Orlando waiting. In Lafayette Street, she sat into a cab. The distance to the next strip seemed to shrink fast as the taxi constantly went forward in the beautiful night of the city. The shadows deepened, the streetlights becoming halos in the growing darkness. She was so close. Philip, as he went back to his bedroom, hung up the phone. He knew something was off. He could hear it in her voice, in the subtle hesitations and the overly enthusiastic assurances. He hated this feeling, this gnawing anxiety that threatened to consume him. He walked over to the window, pushing aside the heavy curtains and staring out at the city lights sprawling before him. He wanted to trust her. He did trust her. But the addiction was a monster, a shadow that lurked in the corners of their lives, always waiting for an opportunity to strike. He thought about the rosemary extract. He had tweaked the formula again, adding a few new ingredients, hoping to make it even more effective. He needed to believe that he could save her. Then he thought about Wednesday, about introducing Julia to Maggie. Maggie, who had always been his rock, his confidant. Maggie, who would see through any facade, any lie. The thought of Julia meeting her filled him with a mixture of hope and fear. He closed his eyes, the city lights blurring behind his eyelids. He repeated Julia's name in his mind, a silent prayer, a desperate plea. He had to believe that she was strong enough. He had to believe that their love was strong enough. He had to. Because if he didn't know what he would do.